Let's do this.
So, okay, the next update is the update that we know that so many of you, and well, so many of us as well, has been wanting for such a long time. It's the Caves and Cliffs update. And we've also worked with design pillars. So the design pillars, they kind of describe the vision of the update. And we have 3 pillars for this update. And the first one is actually all about like the spectacular mountains, the snowier snow, and the mischievous goats. Because at last year's live, the players voted for these features, and we felt like it's so important to deliver on that promise. So we actually wanted to have it as a pillar.
And another pillar that we actually integrated into this was adding strategy to mining. So of course, Minecraft already has plenty of strategy in mining, but we wanted to see if we could push that just a little bit further and add even more mechanics that make it interesting for players to mine in the caves.
And the third pillar is to create an underground of marvel for the players. And that pillar is a lot about like adding variation to the underground and like contrasts and like inspire players to like craft their own underground adventures and build underground. And one thing we have done to like fulfill this pillar is that we have added new cave biomes. And one of them is the Lush Caves.
It's so beautiful. It doesn't feel cave-like.
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to make sure that, of course, in Minecraft, all the original caves, you know, they're pretty much the same. There's not much variation in terms of vegetation or different features inside of it. So for this, we wanted something which is a bit more like light and lush and actually has vegetation. And I mean, I think it looks amazing. I don't know if you saw, but there was this new tree that was actually above on the overworld. And this is called an Azalea Tree. So it's a unique type of tree that it'll be easy to spot for players, and if you actually find this and start going down its roots, you will find a lush cave there. So this is another part of adding strategy to mining, where you know there are certain landmarks which will allow you to understand what you're doing in the game.
That's cool. And another one of the new blocks is a block called Spore Blossom. And it's that you maybe saw it in the video. It's a big pink flower that you find in the roof of the Lush Cave. And it will drip particles from that flower, but it will also actually feel like a big volume around it with particles. So it's similar to the particles that we added to the nether biomes in the nether update. But the cool thing here is that you can move the flower if you want to and get these particles anywhere you want in your world. So you can actually be very creative with that. So there are vines in the Lush Caves, and they have glow berries on them. And these are actually a light source. And you can also pick them and eat them if you want to.
And another plant we actually have is the Dripleaf Plant. And you can actually see that they can kind of grow from like water or anywhere else. And they grow quite tall, but they have like a little plant on the top. The leaf will actually tilt down when you stand on it too long. So this will actually make you fall through. However, after a few seconds, it'll come back up. So it's kind of this like platforming block that allows you to just, you know, continue platforming over and over again, which I hope is really exciting for, you know, content creators making maps.
Yeah, you can build like your own platforming levels, and then they will repair themselves. That's kind of neat.
You've also worked on improving the cave generation.
Yes.
Yeah, so as you can see here, I mean, this is drastically different to what caves used to look like. And there's definitely still the old style of caves, but we wanted to make sure that there was much more variety in the sort of caves and the shapes and the sizes you could get. And even here, you can see that there's some water underground.
Yes, so we actually added something we call local water levels. So in one cave might find like a cave lake, and another cave might not have that one. And this also means that we get naturally generated waterfalls, which is so pretty. And it also kind of gives like new ways to traverse the underground. you can actually go cave rafting.
Yeah,
That's
so
a
you'll
lot.
see in a bit that our player here will actually use a boat to raft. And that is just such an exciting opportunity to be able to traverse the caves in a very different way than you used to.
Yeah, we were playtesting, and then one of the devs like, look at this, it's so fun, and all of us just started to go with the boat on the waterfalls. It was a lot of fun.
So another thing to note here is that you could see that a lot of the ores were actually glowing. This is just for preview purposes. Ores aren't going to glow now.
The new cave shapes and sizes is completely independent from the new biomes. So that means that we have so much variation. Because, for example, a lush cave can, for example, generate, in a super narrow tunnel, but it can also generate in like a huge cavern, and that creates completely different atmospheres, but it's still the same biome. So we're really gonna have lots of variation underground now.
Very nice. And you have another new cave biome to show us.
Yes, so we have the Dripstone Caves biome. And whenever I think about the idea of a cave update, the image of stalagmites and stalactites comes into my head. But adding these are pretty difficult. It's a very unique shape that Minecraft isn't really accustomed to. But I think the way that the artist put it into Minecraft works quite well. And of course, there's some mechanics surrounding this. So you can see that someone destroyed the block up the top, and so the dripstone fell down. And also, unfortunately for this zombie here, if you fall on these dripstones, you will get hurt. We've actually been thinking about this redstone block that lives in the deep dark, a new biome at the deepest depths of the world. We're not going to talk about this biome too much today, but we are going to show some of the blocks and maybe later a mob that comes from it. So if we look at the video, we can actually see that it's basically this growth, and this is called the Sculk blocks. And one of the blocks is called the Sculk sensor. This is the new redstone block. As you can see, when you place or destroy a block, or if you have footsteps, it'll actually detect the vibrations around and then emit a redstone signal. So this is going to be very interesting for redstone players. We even have a mechanic around it where you can actually use wool with wool occlusion to essentially prevent signals from being able to get into the Sculk sensor. So let's take a look at that now. And as you can see here, I walked next to the Sculk sensor, and it's actually kind of doing an infinite loop where the piston is causing a vibration, and then it's activating the Sculk sensor and going over and over again. But here, I've actually put a wool block in between the piston, which prevents the signal from going to the Sculk sensor. This can allow you to even do sort of directional Sculk sensors where you can put wool blocks on each side and only allow it to detect vibrations in front of it. And vibrations can be so many different things. It can be a snowball hit, it could be an arrow, it could be footsteps, it could be blocks, anything.
So cool.
Yeah.
And another thing, we had a bit of an happy accident with this, because we realized that we get wireless redstone thanks to the Sculk sensor.
Yes.
So, and we didn't even plan to add it, but then when we started playtesting, we're like, wait, we got wireless redstone, and that's so exciting, and well, you can just build so many cool things with that. This is a very scary mob, and it lives in the deepest of the underground, in the deep dark, and this is a very dark place. And the cool thing is that this mob is very well adapted to the environment, so it can't see anything, so it's the first blind mob in Minecraft. And that's very interesting because it gives such interesting mechanics. So instead, it will react to vibrations, just like the Sculk sensor block. So if you aren't very careful when you walk around in the deep dark, you might upset that mob.
All I'm going to say is that when you go into the deep dark, I want to make sure that you're very quiet and watch closely for the Warden.
did we just see?
It's a very different mob. I'm really excited for this because not only is it trying to be scary, it's, we had to keep a balance to it. It was very challenging to design a mob like this. Another thing that's really important to note is in that video, I was wearing full netherite armor, so it's very powerful.
Of course, we also want to add like new things to find, like new resources, and one of them are crystals.
They're so beautiful.
Yes, that the moment you turn the corner and you see that glowing thing, that's so,
Yeah.
it's
Like,
incredible.
The atmosphere in the crystal geode,
Yes.
it's like mystical. Yeah, they're so pretty. And we were thinking a lot about like what is the purpose for crystals in Minecraft? And one thing is like they should have a use, and we will talk more about one of the usages soon. But the other thing is a lot about just adding a lot to the experience of exploring. And we want them to be quite rare. So when you find them, it's really gonna be like magical, because they're just beautiful. And when you walk on the crystals, you hear these sounds.
Yeah, it's just, we talked before about the pillar of underground of Marvel. And I feel they're just the perfect feature for that sort of pillar,
Yeah.
right?
But you can't just take them with you.
Right, so you can break the crystal plant we saw in the video, but they actually grow from a very special block. And that block is unobtainable. It's sort of like you think about spawners, right? You cannot just take it and put it in your base. It makes you go and build farms all around your world. And that also encourages you to create tunnels between them and find out ways of transferring those items from place to place. And I just love those sort of features that really encourage other gameplay in the game.
And you mentioned a usefulness to them.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So from those crystal plants, you get crystal shards items, and you can actually use them to craft a telescope.
That is amazing.
It is. It's such a useful item. Super cool. And the cool thing is that, so yes, you use the crystal shards to craft them, but you also need something more, and that's also a new thing that we added. It's copper.
That's amazing.
Yes, it's new ore. And you saw the copper ore in the video. And a very interesting thing with the copper ore is that it generates in a different way. So normal ores often generate like an ore blob, but copper is different. So imagine that you are out mining and you see copper ore. So you're like, okay, I'm gonna mine the copper. And then you see some stone. It's like, they look a bit different. So you continue to mine. And then you find another copper ore. And you probably go like, okay, I think I found a copper vein. So we're actually adding ore veins to Minecraft. And like they really add so much to mining. It gets so interesting because it's kind of like following a trace when you mine. And they tie so well to the pillar we have about adding strategy to mining.
Yeah.
If you place a copper block, it will first be orange, but after a while, a pretty long time, it will turn green. And it's something, I think it's so cool, because it actually adds history to Minecraft. Because, for example, if you have a really old Minecraft world, then you can see on like a house and like, oh, the roof turned all green, and then you know that that house has been there for a really long time.
And copper won't only be used for the telescope. You actually have another really cool thing that you'll be able to craft with it.
Yeah. So Jens talked a bit before about these design principles that we have in Minecraft. And one of them is that if something bad happens, the player either caused it or it has a way to sort of avoid it. And one of those exceptions, for example, is lightning striking. Now, some people like to build wooden roofs in Minecraft. So to try to help the players with that, we are introducing the lightning rod.
Players already have a lot of trouble with their inventory and the amount of items, but you have an idea for that.
Yes. So as you know, we keep adding new blocks and new items all the time, and that do create a bit of an inventory problem. And we're aware of that, and we have actually been thinking quite a lot how we can solve it, because we want to have like a good gameplay solution. We want it to be balanced, and we actually have an item in this update that will be really helpful, and it's the bundles.
So we're actually adding a new system called the Archaeology system. In this system, you're basically going to find these excavation sites all throughout your world. And you can make this new tool called the brush that is going to help you uncover the mysteries of all these dig sites. So you come to one of these ancient structures, and you can sort of use the brush to clear away some of the rubble that may have collapsed in those structures. And sometimes you might even find something shiny inside them. But, and this is important, if you are not careful enough, like in real life, you can destroy that artifact. And when that artifact is gone, that artifact and all the secrets it held are gone forever. But if you're careful enough, if you take your time and you're deliberate, you can get some of those hidden artifacts. And for example, here we got a ceramic shard, which is basically how whoever lived here used to tell and pass on their stories.
I love the story sides of the archaeology, because we often talk about that we want to deepen the mystery in Minecraft. And when you find these hidden artifacts, you kind of find like connections and hints. And we will never tell the full story, but these will inspire the players to tell their own stories about their own Minecraft worlds.
Exactly. I think it's going to be really exciting to see what players do with them. For example, here we see an exhibition that someone built for this, where he can compare all the different clues he finds, right, and try to preserve whatever was down here, and he can compare what we found with whatever new thing, and sort of try to connect the pieces, right? And here we see those pieces connected in a clay pot, actually trying to reconstruct them back. And you can create that however you like. You can create your own stories or try to guess how those pieces used to connect.
Yeah. It's also so fun to be very creative with these new pots, because you can put the shards in any way you want.
Exactly, and when you're pleased with your creation, you can fire them up, and you have your own painted clay pot.
Pretty. So, Nir, is this programmer art still?
Yeah, the art we're seeing is still work in progress.
But we've been hinting at a new mob, like over the course of the show, like 3 or 4 times. So are you going to tell us about it now,
Yes,
please?
now we're gonna tell you. It's the cutest predator you will ever meet.
I feel like there's only one sound I can make after seeing that, which is like,
Cute.
It's so adorable. The axolotls.
how did you decide on axolotls?
So when we add a new mob to Minecraft, we really want it to have like its own unique character. We want it to have purpose. And it's also a very good thing if it happens to be ugly cute. And the axolotl is perfect. It has all of these things. Well, I guess on the ugly cuteness, it might be quite a big emphasis on the cute side, but still. And we actually had a brainstorm in the team. So we were like, okay, we're gonna add goats, but we want to add another animal. And then one of the developers posted like a big picture of an axolotl, and we all went like, yes.
Yes, this
It's
right
perfect.
now.
It's like the definition of ugly cute. It's like made for Minecraft.
Perfect.
And then we also found out that axolotls are endangered in the real world. And we think it's good to add endangered animals to Minecraft to create awareness around that. So that's also a good thing.
Like with the bees.
Yes, like with the bees last year, for example. As you saw in the video, they live in the Lush Caves and they really add a lot of life to the Lush Caves. And there's also a bucket of axolotl.
I didn't think it could get
Look,
cuter,
I know.
but
That is just so cute. I don't know how to handle it, but it's so cute. So when you're walking around in the Lush Caves and you see some axolotls, then you can actually scoop them up in your bucket and take them with you. So maybe you build like a pretty aquarium for them in your base, or maybe you bring them to your ocean adventure.
and now I see why you're calling them the cutest predator you'll ever meet.
Exactly. So when you scoop them up in a bucket, you can actually create your own axolotl army, basically, and charge into the oceans with them, and they will help you fight various, well, they'll attack cute fish as well, but they'll help you fight the drowns and the guardians, and they're actually quite useful when fighting guardians because they have this special ability that whenever they take damage, they sort of play dead. And when they're playing dead, no mob will actually attack them. So they have this time to regen back, help, and then jump back into the fight together with you. And if you learn how to cooperate with them really well, they might even heal you during the battle.